There's something special about the Dreamcast era of Sega. It's like they were trying to make themselves seem like the cool, hip company, and I don't mean that in the way like Nintendo using the butthole servers in a commercial. I mean cool as in their own version of current trends. I guess this was to make up to us Westerners after the mediocre handling of the Saturn. Not dissing the Saturn, but the Dreamcast. Man, the Dreamcast feels like something else. Most of all, these games had colorful and/or fantastic graphics for the time, amazing soundtracks, and not only did the games have style, but it really felt like a risk that paid off. Most of these games feel really unique and wouldn't have come out before or after. Will we have a game like Choo Choo Rocket outside of this era? Or Jet Set Radio? Or even Seaman?
If you'd had bad eyes when you and your ancestors were still running around in the wild, you'd have become some lion's midnight snack pretty darn quick. And yet, right now, one of the most powerful people in the world is that four-eyed guy in Seattle.
Hell, Sega even managed to sell Simon just with the goofy sugar J-pop aesthetic. However, we won't be looking at anything super Japanese today, but instead the most late 90s American thing ever. Crazy Taxi.
Hey, come on over, have some fun with Crazy Taxi!
A game like this seems like a product of some American company trying to cash in on the radical success of Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. But as it turns out, this game is 100% Japanese. From the Sega division known as Hitmaker, known for titles like Baku Baku Animal, Sega Sonic the Hedgehog, Virtual Tennis, Astro Boy Omega Factor, and Sega Rally Championship. So we have them to thank for this.
Game over, yeah!
But the game to outshine all the others was Crazy Taxi. Producer Kenji Kano tried to fix a problem with modern, at the time, arcade games that seemed to have a time limit based on how much money you put into the machine, and instead decided on an idea that would continuously give you more time the better you did. A very nice idea for a time when arcades mattered, and thus Crazy Taxi was born. If there's two things special about Crazy Taxi, one is that it pretty much reinvented the racing genre. Instead of the standard get from point A to point B racing game, Crazy Taxi drops the race aspect and just has you delivering customers to their next location. The second is, at the time, there really wasn't an open world game that was super popular. And although this game isn't Grand Theft Auto 3, Crazy Taxi taught us that having a mini world just to explore is really cool. And the world we get is like if 1999 vomited out a video game. If there was a game to perfectly describe 1999, it's Crazy Taxi. The game feels like Hollywood's California of bright colors with a scrub-clean urban environment and a gaggle of customers that look straight out of a Sum 41 music video. And who doesn't look like a caricature of late 90s teenagers is something like a pregnant lady or a freaking reverend. And let's not forget getting high fives and fist bumps if you get them there in a good time, and even the reverend gives you fist bumps. Nice. Even the playable characters have to be hip young adults of the time, which includes Zoro from One Piece, Token Black Guy, Token White Girl, and Duke Nukem.
Okay, let's have some fun.
That is John St. John, right? Guess not. Nice impression though. And finally, to help sell the style is the soundtrack, which consists of a few songs by The Offspring and Bad Religion. Yeah, this game ain't no casualty of society. It's hardcore. It's edgy. And it comes with a side of mashed potatoes and gravy and a medium beverage. So much for anti-conformity. Alongside the punk rock soundtrack is a lot of product placement, notably KFC and Pizza Hut. Look, Sega weren't shy of selling out. Remember Soap Shoes and Sonic Adventure 2? And as it turns out, Sega and MTV almost worked out a deal to have Ooh La La of Space Channel 5 be an MTV news reporter.
So, which genre of urban music is the most popular worldwide? Well, this summer it might be the art of turntablism. World champion DJ Craze attempts to make history by visiting 38 countries in a single tour, breaking the current record of 35 held by Michael Jackson.
Of course, because licenses don't live forever, both the soundtrack and the product placement was removed in later versions. The stores became plain stores like the Fried Chicken Shack, and the soundtrack was replaced with other various punk rock songs. These are both changes I don't mind. I couldn't care less that I was playing a game with KFC in it, and the replacement songs are still pretty good and still fit with the theme of Crazy Taxi. Too bad there's no yeah. The theme of Crazy Taxi is an insane road trip of mayhem. No police here, you need to get to the next destination, and if you need to get a car out of your way any way possible, so be it. It's a whole new experience in taxi rides, especially when the passengers pay over $100 for a ride? Now that's crazy. And if you're able to slide past a car or manage to get some air, they'll give you some extra money. All this for a ride to the popcorn factory? I guess they want a ride that'll get them there in 30 seconds, and when you fail to comply, they straight up book it. Okay, see you later. Somehow Hitmaker managed to produce a game that managed to stay in gamers' minds for decades. Everything about this game will stick with you, even if all you ever know about it is through other people's videos like this. When I first heard that gruff voice from the narrator, I knew it would stick with me forever.
Let's give it another go. Good luck.
And one of the best qualities of arcade games like these is that they have a great pick up and play attitude. You can come in, get a quick 20-minute play session and be satisfied. You won't be replaying any Zelda game anytime soon, but you can come back to Crazy Taxi anytime. And thankfully, Crazy Taxi found a nice home on the Dreamcast a year later after its arcade debut, where it gained a second map to play on and a challenge mode. This game feels exclusive enough to get a Dreamcast in the year 2000.
Game over, yeah!
Oh yeah, that's right, Sega left the console market in 2001. But in the end, this let them find new homes for their previous games. The original Crazy Taxi was ported to the GameCube and the PlayStation 2 in 2001, where it managed to sell pretty nicely, as well as multiple re-releases including a Steam version, which is the one I played for this video. Crazy Taxi turned out to be one of Sega's biggest recent franchises, so Hitmaker got to make a few sequels. Sadly, they didn't find re-releases on later consoles like the original. The second one was only on Dreamcast, although it was bundled with the first for a PSP port. And the third was only on Xbox. Xbox? No GameCube or PS2? Oh well, and also a PC version back when it was first released. This is kinda disappointing since the sequel introduced picking up multiple people at once, but oh well. There is one more Crazy Taxi game worth mentioning, although it has nothing to do with Crazy Taxi. The Simpsons Road Rage from 2001, which pretty much stole the playstyle of Crazy Taxi for their own Simpsons spin. Sadly, what the developers and publishers didn't know was that Sega had a patent for Crazy Taxi's gameplay style and took them to court in 2003. The lawsuit was settled privately. Why it took 2 years to file a lawsuit and not instantly is beyond me, but you know what I think? I think Sega was just jealous Road Rage was the better game. Besides the Simpson aesthetic and getting all the voice actors to bring a lot of personality to the title, the game also fixes a few problems the original had. The biggest problem with the original Crazy Taxi is that your car can feel so slow to get started and so slow to slow down. Here I am hoping to slow down enough so I can get the speedy status of the delivery, and no, I'm off by 1 second. And this whole drive reverse thing like an actual car, no, just no. It's 1999, we have a button for reversing. These objections are minor, I should say. I still think Crazy Taxi is a wild ride that's hard to resist. Even if you disagree with the taxi's weight and the drive reverse thing, it's easy to adapt, because everything else about this game is great. It's been 16 years since Crazy Taxi had a new original game that wasn't some crummy app nobody wanted. But in a way, I think Crazy Taxi's a game that shouldn't come back. It was a product of its time, and it's better to appreciate it on that fact. If they made a new one, I really couldn't see it fitting in with modern times. Also, Sega doesn't know how to make a game that isn't Sonic the Hedgehog or Football Manager nowadays. I say just buy a digital copy on Steam or any console's online store and enjoy the game as it is. It's a great piece of 90s cheese that managed to age extremely well. And with that, I can call Crazy Taxi one of the best games of the 90s.
Alright, it's time to check out how you did today. Now let's take a look. Class A license. Game over.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I've got some big plans for my next one, so I figure I'd get a quick one out to hold you guys over, but if you enjoyed the video, why don't you check out my last video, which was on the original SimCity back in 1989, or if you want more Sega goodness, check out the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 video. I'll see you next time.